Let's go. Elden Ring is really a story about you, the player, and what you choose to do on your journey. Everything you do feels like it has purpose, like nothing feels meaningless. Seriously, a massive scope of an open world to explore. The world is dense with stuff to do instead of it just being big in scope. Instantly summon and ride your steed instead of having to run up and mount it. It's the only horse-like thing I can think of that can do a double jump. If you're curious about something, it'll most likely be rewarding for you to check it out. There's dungeons of all kinds of sizes and puzzles and stuff to solve. There's massive castles that honestly feel like they could be a game within the game. Side quests never really feel like filler. In fact, they feel as important as story stuff. You could place up to 100 markers on the world to remind you something is there. There's 10 different kinds of markers to remind you what exactly might be there when you come back later. There's very little decision making that actually interrupts the game itself. You never really feel like you're holding up the story with how everything feels meaningful. Control nearly every aspect of how your character fights. Santa Claus merchants. Rather than simple choice wheels, you, the player, and your actions are the real decisions you make in the game. Easily pick up items in the open world that you could use for crafting and other things. There are some seriously detailed customization stats you can do with your builds. Currency and XP are not separated. In fact, they're one and the same, called runes. If you're sucking hard, you could actually grab a lot of material and sell that to level up in the game. Always being on edge if you're carrying a lot of runes before you've used them. Always on edge trying to get back your runes after you died. An absurdly large amount of enemy variety to fight. Combat that's challenging but fair, and it motivates you to get better instead of just simply grinding. Fights are more complex than simply just mashing a button over and over. Some of the best boss fights in the history of gaming.
I command thee.
You always have something else you can do if you get stuck on an enemy or a group of enemies. The relief of finding a save point that is also a safe spot for you. Dragons. Fast travel is super easy, and basically you can do it whenever you want. Many moments that will catch you completely off guard, and that makes you tense. A really diverse cast of characters you'll come across that are actually performed pretty well. You can choose to literally kill everybody you talk to, though. Overcoming the challenges you'll face in the game really helps drive you to play it. You have access to a lot of help screens and tutorials in the inventory. Nothing in your inventory breaks, except you and your steed. The magic is some of the coolest, intense attacks I have ever seen. You can get dragon spells in this game by being a metal badass that presents the heart of a dragon you slayed. There's a lot of various NPC allies you could summon to help you. If you want company, there is co-op that you could venture around with. You could also have intense PvP matches if you seek competition. Multiplayer really feels like it's part of the world instead of it being a separate thing. While Elden Ring's graphics aren't crazy, its art direction is stunning. You really feel like you're in this world with the imagination and creativity the team brought to it. The music is incredible. It's somber, epic, and horrific whenever it needs to be. On a single run alone, the game will provide dozens upon dozens of hours of content. If you replay it, probably might exceed into the hundreds. The game is developed by From Software, who has constantly put out great hits. This has been deemed the crown jewel of FromSoft games by longtime players.
I offer you an accord.
Melina. Putting this in if I'm underneath the time, it is just a fantastic game. Elden Ring, I can't put it down. 10 minutes will be an hour will be 3 hours. There's so much stuff to do, so many threads that I want to find, so many nooks and crannies that I want to explore, bosses that I want to beat, and that feeling of trying to keep up with people is another pusher factor. This game is truly a masterpiece, and I'm not even, I think, a third through it. Let me know what I missed in the comments, and don't forget to be geek, be proud, be awesome.